Feel the beat, it's in your soul. Yeah. Dance and Meisha make you whole. Yeah, yeah. Stories rise, the healing's near. Share your light, there's no fear. Healing huddles, we all unite. There's a Meisha, shine you bright. So bright. Tell your story, let it flow. Together stronger, we will grow.
Hello there. Welcome back to Healing Huddles. I am Des Gerald, your host.
And I am Meisha Dalton, co-host.
And tonight's topic is trauma making you sick? And how to release the emotions that may be stored in your cells. But before we get into that, for those of you who are just coming across our YouTube channel and seeing our video and haven't seen any other videos, we are a part of the Healing Home movement, and we are just wanting to help raise the vibration on this planet.
Yes.
And in order to do that, we have to heal home. And home to us is our bodies, mind, body, and spirit. Plus, it's our relationships with our friends and family, plus our earth. And in order to heal our relationships and heal our earth, we have to heal ourselves first. It starts with us first. And so today, this topic is so important, and a very important step in just making, actually starting that healing journey, starting that healing process. And so let's just get into it. Let's get into it. I came across a few reels, one by a doctor that explains it very well, but I'm going to actually share a clip from Billy Carlson. And also, it looks like it's another doctor here that's kind of talking about what happens with stored trauma.
That traumas from 15 to 20 generations of your past ancestors gets passed down through the RNA, down the father's bloodline. And when you're born with memories from 15 to 20 generations ago that are active in your life as you're growing up and living. And people can't figure out, why do I feel depressed? I got a great life. Why am I feeling angry or anxious? A lot of the times, those are memories that are coming out through your genes. It's gene expressions that are creating different hormonal levels in your body that's creating the different moods that you're getting into. You have to learn how to reprogram those epigenetics.
Keeps the score in the sense that trauma, anxiety, stress, all of that is tied to our physical health. And if we have undealt with trauma in our life, it can show up as cancer, migraines, digestive issues.
When something traumatic happens that is so big and so painful that you just can't bear to look at it, the only thing you can do is push it down. This way, no one can see it, and as long as you don't think about it, it's gone. So you carry on with life, and it takes everything you have to hold it under the surface. But then one small thing happens that triggers the memory, and everything comes to the surface, and it's too much pain all at once. So you lock it back up and you push it back down. And this can be the cycle that you have to live through again and again. And many people are so frightened to go to therapy because they think that is what's going to happen. But in reality, here's how it actually happens. We don't overwhelm you with everything. We carefully process the memories and all the emotions that come with it in a way that is safe and at your own pace, so that over time you can heal. I'm a psychologist. Follow for more.
That was a powerful illustration.
It really was.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, wow, what a great illustration.
Yeah, because especially in the Black community, it's like people are scared to go to a therapist. It's like a stigma. It's still a stigma, I think. I mean, I believe more and more people are going and they're talking about going, but like, especially growing up, if you went to see a therapist, it was like you were looked at like you're crazy.
Yeah.
When everybody should be going to a therapist. Everybody goes through some level of trauma
Mm-hmm.
in their lifetime. If you break up with someone,
That's
that's
trauma.
trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Just having a relationship and now separating, that is trauma.
That's trauma.
So let's dive into this. Let's definitely dive into this topic, because that was something that I had to learn, with my whole breast cancer diagnosis journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because my goal was to heal from a holistic standpoint. So to me, it wasn't just, oh, I'm going to get chemo treatments and getting medication. No, it was a mind, body, and spirit thing for me. As a matter of fact, at one point in my journey, I was just like, okay, am I holding on to any type of unforgiveness for anyone? Like, I really had to search myself, and two people came to mind. One was my daughter's father, and the other one was an aunt. And I couldn't speak to my aunt because she was in the hospital when she was going through her own things. But if you didn't see previous videos before, I talked about some of the things that I went through, all the stressful things that I went through leading up to my cancer diagnosis. I was, told you guys that I went through about a good 4 years of just straight chronic stress. And that aunt, I'm going to try not to cry actually right now. Because it was very, very painful for me when my grandmother passed, and how we were treated, how my mother was treated, being the oldest child. And it's almost like our family was upset at us because we had left and moved to North Carolina, and then we came back and it was like they were there. But in actuality, like, we know that our grandmother, she was on the decline. She had dementia, and we actually wanted her to come to North Carolina. My mom being the oldest, me and my sister being the oldest grandchildren. We wanted to take care of my grandmother, but they wanted her to stay there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And take care of her. But going back, the way that we were treated it was just really sad. I was physically attacked by my aunt and her son. And that took me, I have bruises I have bruises to really, to show for it. But that really, it did something to me. It really did something. It did break me. I mean, who wants to be attacked by a family member, right? Especially during a time like that. But she was just really upset that we wanted to go see my grandmother at the funeral hall. And, I didn't get a chance to spend time with my grandmother. Of course, like I said, we were in North Carolina. My mom didn't either. That's her mother. But we just wanted to go see my grandmother at the funeral home before the next day, which was the wake, and everybody else saw her. And she had a problem with it. And got back to the house. She actually saw us at the funeral home and was yelling and screaming, "I told you not to come here." Like, it was just, I felt like I was in a twilight zone. I could not believe that it was my family acting like this. And I know people say that, when funerals happen, people, their minds are just all over the place. And my God, if that's what it was, then, you know, please forgive her. Lord, please forgive her. But it was bad. And it took me some time to heal from that. A good year, I would say. It was painful because I love my family. I do. I love my family. and it was just hurtful. But that was something that I had to like just finally release and let go, you know. And then my daughter's father, you know, that wasn't a great relationship. You know, it was a very verbal, abusive relationship. Um, but I've always forgiven him because I know there were things that he went through too, and just childhood traumas, and you know, the same for my aunt. God only knows the things that she's been through, right? Um, but that's why I really want to uh or just came up with the idea to do this healing home movement, because it's really time for all of us to heal, and time for us to just talk about things and get rid of all this trauma. um I did speak to my daughter's father. We had a great talk. We even met together with the kids and everything, and had a good talk. And I just let him know, hey, I just want you to know that I don't hold any type of, uh, you know, malice or
Mhm.
any type of resentment, even.
Mhm.
Everything that I've gone through, I know it's been a learning experience, and it's actually brought me to where I am right now here at this very moment, right?
Mhm.
And so you kind of have to take the good with the bad, and be grateful for every experience,
Mhm.
right? Because you only learn from it.
Right.
But yeah, that's some of my trauma. There's a lot more to unpack, but um, just wanted to share that with you guys and just be very candid and open about it. That we all go through things. We all go
Mhm.
through things, and the best thing to do is just release it, and release those people that may have hurt you to their highest power, and
Yeah.
just wish them well.
Mhm.
It doesn't do any good to wish anybody bad, because whatever you put out there is going to come right back to you. I,
Mhm.
I guarantee it. So it's always good to wish people well. What are some of the traumas you've been through, Meisha?
So when I was younger, my mom, so we're originally from New York. My mother moved here. My mother got pregnant with me when she was about 14.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, had me when she was very young, 15. We moved to North Carolina when I was very young, and my mom passed away when I was 10. But the manner in which she passed away was very traumatic for me because she had a boyfriend who she broke up with, and he came to our apartment and told her that he was going to unalive. Want to use different words so they don't flag our video. Unalive myself, my little sister at the time was 2, I was 10, my mother was 25, I think. And he said that, he said, if I can't have you, no one else will. And he said, in 3 weeks, we all are gonna, be unalive together. And my mother didn't listen. I told my grandmother, she didn't
Oh,
listen. My
wow.
grandmother said, you need to take your girls and move back to New York. She didn't think anything would happen. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, he came. I spent the night with my grandmother that night, who lived in the same apartment complex. And my mother never let me spend the night out. And she walked me around my grandmother's house. And I just knew, as a young child, I always felt very intuitive. I had dreams. I dreamt that my mother's death 3 years before she actually died, and I was 10. So that tells you, I still dream things to this day. But when she dropped me off, she walked around there. She's like, "Give me a hug," and I'm like, "No," because you're young and you want to give hugs and kisses. You feel gross. Like I was just so shy. And I never would. And I didn't know that that would be the last day that I would see my mother. And I would give anything to be able to,
Oh,
you know. And so that was very traumatizing for me because I knew I was I wasn't supposed to be there, or I would have been. But my neighbor came around to my grandmother's house and was like, something happened to your daughter. And I knew instantly. I was like, I knew it was my mother. So I jumped out the bed. I was 10 years old now. Jumped out the bed, ran around to our side of the complex in the neighborhood, And when I got there, the ambulance was there. Everyone was there. I saw them carrying my mom out. She was shot
Wow.
up.
Wow.
Yeah, blood everywhere. You know, it was a major crime
I'm
scene.
so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so that was very traumatic for me. You know, seeing my mother like that, and then knowing. And so I learned at a young age how to dissociate, because for years I would tell myself that my mother moved back to New York, that I was going to see her.
Mm,
I told myself that, and so I wouldn't cry for a long time. And my grandmother is like, "You need to get this girl some therapy." Telling my aunt, but like you said, you know, in our community, we just don't do therapy. So I held that in for years and years and years and years. So that played into me having abandonment wounds.
right.
Um, because even growing up, I stayed in a lot of different places as a young person, experienced a lot of traumatic things that we could probably talk about in another video. But those things shaped me to be who I am today. So I had to learn how to go back to that inner child and heal her and let her know, like, you're safe now, you know. So that was one of the very traumatic things in my life that to this day, you know, I still, you know, deal with that, you know, and I'm almost 50 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whew, that's heavy, Meisha.
Yeah. 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 So, you know, but you know, we do have to deal with those things because it does shape us. And if we don't, a lot of the trauma and hurt, or, you know, things that have happened to us, we may think, oh, I'm over it. You know, I moved past it. But a lot of things are very subconscious. And so part of healing the inner child is bringing what is subconscious and bringing it to a conscious state so you can actually deal with it. There's a saying that says you can't heal what you don't feel. So
Right.
you know, sometimes things could hurt so bad that you literally will block it out your mind. And in my case, I literally dissociated for a long time. And so I learned that even going through an abusive relationship as an adult, when it was really painful, I knew how to escape it by just taking my mind somewhere else, like a beautiful place. Even
Mhm.
though the trauma was happening, I just disappear in my mind. And then when it's over, I come back to myself. I learned to do that. That was my way of coping. And so now I learned, you know, as part of healing, you have to feel to heal. So,
Yeah.
you know, but as far as, you know, how it impacts your body, I mean, right now, even my autoimmune journey, 13 years ago, the doctors told me they thought I had autoimmune disease and said lupus, that my body was just hurting on itself. And a lot of that is triggered by stress. When you are under chronic stress for so long, you don't know how that stress is going to manifest in your body. It could manifest as autoimmune diseases, high blood pressure,
Cancer.
cancer, you know, or things like acne, you know, eczema, you know, or just severe depression. So we really do have to deal with those traumas, you know, because those negative emotions and those traumas, they do, just like the video said, the body keeps score. There's actually a really good book called The Body Keeps Score. That is the name of the book. And there's a workbook that goes with it too, called the Body Keeps Score workbook. I would recommend that for anyone to read if they're wanting to really understand what's going on a subconscious level.
That's we need to add that to our book,
Yeah,
the
that
book
would be
club.
yeah, that would be an excellent book to add, because the body does keep score. You know, you may think you're all right, like even now, if I'm stressed, I may think, oh, I'm okay, I'm not stressed. Meanwhile, I am having chest pains, or my skin is itching, or, you know, just
Right.
different. So you think that you're okay, but your body knows better. Your body's like, oh, I know you're saying you're okay with your mouth, but I know better. I know what stress is. That's what your body is saying. Like, I recognize this. And it starts sending off, firing off those those stress hormones, the fight flight stuff, you know, and you just, you know, so we just really have to deal with it. We just really have to deal with
We
it.
do. We do. And I think the next few episodes, we definitely need to, our topic just needs to be on childhood trauma,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the I know I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot, right? And
Mhm.
I could just imagine how many people, or have been through similar things, or um, just have a story that they haven't even gotten out yet.
Yeah.
You know, I was speaking to a friend today who's actually starting a class. I think another podcast
Mhm.
called Healing from Here or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but I didn't even know he was in foster care. Like,
Mhm.
so I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to have you on Healing Huddles. He's like, yeah, and you need to be on our podcast. So we'll probably have him on here just talking about his experience. I definitely want to bring my sister Love on here to just talk about how she felt growing up with
Mhm.
us always being kind of like up against each other, like, because she's light skinned, I'm dark skinned. You know how the Black community was with that back in the day. So I want
Mhm.
to bring her on to just talk about that a little bit too, um, and just open up the lines of communication.
Yeah.
That's why we have healing huddles.
Exactly. Exactly.
We want everybody to share their story as a form of release. That's helping to release it and get it out and to help you heal.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And even though like and that's what, as far as this particular video, we are covering if does trauma or is trauma making you sick. So I actually wanted to go over a few things that I jotted down, just some of the things that people may be experiencing, just some of the symptoms, as well as some of the impact on your body. Some of the symptoms may be digestive issues. I know sometimes you had store trauma, you have digestive issues, diverticulitis, irritable bowel syndrome, just different digestive issues, Crohn's. You have raised elevated blood pressure because that stress is causing your blood pressure to be elevated, increased heart rate, tachycardia, memory and focus issue, headaches, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain due to tensing the muscles during stressful times, and then some of the impact. And a lot of people, they don't realize. I know that heart disease is listed as the number one cause of death in our
It is.
community, but I really think it's stress. The underlying, the root,
Yeah,
I think it's
for
stress. I
sure.
really do. And so the impact, the constant wear and tear, and wearing down of your body systems, it can affect your immune system. Hello.
Yeah.
Uh, your immune system. So stress can weaken and suppress the immune system and trigger inflammatory responses that can cause flare-ups with autoimmune disorders. And it impacts your ability to fight off viruses and illnesses. It can also have issues called respiratory issues, affect your respiratory system. You have the rapid breathing, which affects your level of oxygen. You have shortness of breath, and it can actually worsen asthma for people who have asthma. Of course, cardiovascular system affects your blood vessels. You can have a stroke, high blood pressure, heart attacks. It affects your hormones. So like which we spoke about, the fight flight hormones that comes from that's hormones. Cortisol is released by the adrenals, so you can experience adrenal fatigue. So it from A to Z,
Yeah.
chronic stress and just holding on to trauma can literally tear your entire body down.
You know what? One of the questions when I went to the Alternative Cancer Treatment Center in the Tampa area, when I sat and spoke with the doctor when I first got there,
Mm-hmm.
he asked me which breast it was in. I
Uh-huh.
said, my right breast. And he said, who betrayed you?
Wow.
He said, who betrayed you? Did somebody betray you within the past 3-4 years? And I was like, uh, yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was the last to know. I had a friend, something big and significant happened in their life, and I was like the last to know when we were so close. And that hurt me. Like, I was just like, wow. And I understand why they didn't tell me, because I was
Mhm.
going through so much in my life at the time. Like I said, like back to back things was happening. I had stuff going on with my daughter, my oldest daughter, and her daughter. I had things going on, like my uncle had passed, and then my grandmother passed, and then the stuff with my aunt and the
Mhm.
flip. Like it was just all this stuff compounded. So I mean, I get it and I got it, but just imagine being really really close to someone and you find out something major on social media.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that everybody else knew and you was the only one that didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so and it was hurtful, but you know, I still I understand why they didn't tell me what was going on, but yeah, life.
Yes. Life is
Life
always lifing.
life is always life, and but that doctor was like, he was really on point. It
Wow.
was on point. Um, Another person said something like that to me too. It was this pastor, and he's like, a lot of times it's a spiritual and emotional uh, situation why you have this illness, And I said, yeah, I can see that. I could see that. I could see with not
Yeah.
even, releasing the traumas and the
Mhm.
things that you go through, right?
Mhm.
Um, I always feel so much, but on the outside, like my kids be like, "Oh, you're so tough, and you're so this," but
Yeah.
they have no idea, no clue how deeply things affect me.
Yeah.
Because I think I try to put on a really good face for them too. Like as a mom, like I have to be strong. I have to be strong for them, and let them see that you can get through things in life. So,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
but in the meantime, I had to learn and have learned to how to release things, because before I wasn't.
Mhm.
I was not. I was like just letting things weigh me down, but still smiling and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some ways to release these emotions. What are some of the things that people can do? Let's give them some tips. What's some of the things you do? One of the things that I
Well,
learned to do is just scream. Ah! When people are not around, like just scream, just get it out. Just
yeah.
yeah.
A few things. I journal. I started journaling a while back when I was a little bit younger. I've always been a writer. So I used to write poetry and short stories a lot when I was younger. And so I kind of went back to that as an adult. I went back to journaling. So I journaled. I started writing stories. I've been working on a book forever. um, Another thing that I love music, so I'll listen to, if I feel stressed, I'll listen to
Same.
certain types of music. I love going to the gym and working out. That helps to release stress for me. Going outside in nature and spending time outside really, really does it for me. But one of the big things that I did, like to seriously, to help with some of the serious things that were really, really bad, I did a lot of something called shadow working. I don't know if you guys are familiar with shadow working, but that's something that I did, is shadow working, and that helped me tremendously. I spent a lot of time doing that, just going back to that inner child healing.
Yeah, give
And
us an example of like how what you did to do the shadow work for some
um,
people that might not
so
know what
yeah,
that is.
so one thing, several things. Well, one thing, I actually had a almost like a when you close your eyes and you take your mind back to as far back as you can when you were a child, and your earliest memory with your parents, and you're in literally on in that state, you're communicating, it's using visualization and visualizing yourself communicating with your parent or the person who you feel may have hurt you, abandoned you, or whatever you've gone through. And you go back and you communicate to that parent or that person and you're telling them how you feel and you're getting it out, but you're doing it in your mind. It's just visualizing it in your mind. And it sounds crazy, but it actually helped me a lot, because I went through everyone in my life that I felt hurt, that hurt me. And I expressed it in that state of mind, and forgave them, and I forgave myself. And then lastly, I had to go back to my little girl self. So one thing I did, I had a picture of myself, my younger self, when I was about 5 years old. Actually, I have it sitting in my office right now, but a picture of myself, and I put the picture up on the wall, and I talked to the picture as if that was the little girl me, little Meisha. And I talked to her and I let her know that, you know what, I'm so sorry that you had to experience. Ooh, I feel like I'm gonna cry. Experience some of the things that you experienced as a child. And I named those things that happened as a child, things that have happened to me where I felt unsafe or unprotected or neglected or abandoned. Even with my mother, she's deceased. Her life was taken from her, but I didn't realize until I became an adult. I was angry. I was angry because when I started to accept the reality, I was angry because I'm like, she left me. I felt like you left me. You could have gotten away. You could have moved back into New York. You could have done so I had to forgive her, even though she's passed away. And then I had to forgive myself too, because I was angry at myself because I felt like I couldn't save her, that I left and spent the night with my grandmother when I should have stayed home, that maybe if I stayed home, she would have, so I had to deal with it. So I communicated to that little girl picture of me and talked to her and just let her know that she's now safe. She's protected. She's loved. She's, she's not abandoned. She's loved and she's accepted. So I did that. And journaling, I am a huge proponent of journaling.
Yeah.
So that helped me.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, some other ways I would say would be to do some breath work.
Mm-hmm.
You could do tapping.
Mm-hmm.
You guys might want to research tapping. Yoga. I would say yoga probably be good. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know what? I just started doing yoga. Go figure, right? I tried a class a few weeks ago and I felt so good afterwards. I was like, wow. And because I've been like really saying I'm gonna do more stretching and stuff like that, because it is a form of stretching, right? But to me, I feel like it's even like some form of emotional release,
Mm-hmm.
because you're doing your breathing, you're doing your breath work while you're doing the stretches and all of that stuff. I did hot yoga. I felt so good. And when I say that it really helped, I actually did it during when I was going through that phase with the doctor's voice in my head. I actually did it then, and I felt so relaxed and just so I felt free.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I gotta get yoga in at least twice a week.
Yeah, hot yoga is amazing.
Especially with everything that I have going on,
Mm-hmm.
with work, and I have a lot going on. And so I really have to be diligent on making sure that I take time out for myself and I'm doing these things. There's herbals that are really good for helping with managing I would say stress, emotions, right? They're kind of hand in hand. But ashwagandha, very powerful,
Mm-hmm.
very calming. Holy basil.
Mm-hmm.
And what's some of your favorite stress-free herbs?
Definitely ashwagandha, holy basil. Also things like chamomile, skullcap. Skullcap is really good. Hops,
Lavender.
lavender, linden flower. Linden flower is very calming. It helps with anxiety. Um, yeah, those would be my top ones. Lemon balm. Lemon balm.
Mm.
How could I forget lemon balm? Even lemongrass. If you put lemongrass, do you remember when I told you I made that tea? And I
Oh yeah, you went to sleep. You
And
You can't
I
stay
had to
up. You're like, what's going on?
I had to pull over in the
Yeah.
in a parking lot at Whole Foods. I'm like, why am I so like? I just felt like overly relaxed, like for no reason. I'm like, what happened? And I forgot I'd made that tea, and I used lemon balm. I did lemon balm, lemongrass. I did put some hibiscus in there. I love hibiscus because hibiscus can help with your blood pressure. It helps with blood circulation, and it has vitamin C in it too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I
those are
love hibiscus. As a matter of fact,
yay.
that
I
is
love
what I'm sipping on. That is
yeah,
what I got some beets in here too. I got all types of good stuff. Ginger. I got,
yes,
you see the soursop leaves in there?
yes.
I dumped some of I had soursop, hibiscus, and clove tea.
Hmm.
But then I had like a beet, apple, ginger. Um, I think there's some carrots. Anyways, I was at the end of my tea, so I just poured it all together.
Hey, it's all good stuff though, right?
Yeah.
At least you're getting all good stuff. So
Yes, yes. So I would say some other things too would be, if you have a tub, take
mm,
advantage of a nice, warm, hot bath with
yes.
essential oils and your
Hmm.
candles lit, and just, don't just sit in there, but just kind of like Meisha said, kind of visualize and go back to things and try to pinpoint the areas in your body that you're like maybe feeling um, like pain or just like blockages. You can tell when there's certain well, I know I can. I can tell when something is off from my body,
Hmm.
right? And just visualize healing in that area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Release anything that you might be holding on to mentally, just release it, spiritually release it. Um, and it'll go. It will
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It will go.
Yep.
Music just does it for me. Music
Yeah.
is a big one for me. I mean, I have to listen to music when I'm doing everything.
Yeah.
When I'm
Yeah.
working, driving, like music is going.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my happy place. And singing, I like to sing. I
Mhm.
love to dance. So all the great things that lifts you up and make you feel happy. But I think at the end of the day, the bottom line is to make sure that you're being honest with yourself
Mhm.
and making sure that you're being conscious of what you're holding on to so that you
Mhm.
can release it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And maybe lastly, because I'll end with this. We've been going for a while now. But have a mantra. Have a mantra that you do to keep you grounded, to keep you on pace for your healing. I have one here that I wrote down that I'll leave you guys with, and it's just 3 sentences. I allow myself to feel. I allow myself to heal. I release what no longer serves me. Say that all day long if you got to, and release what you need to release. All right, guys, that is it for this episode. And next week, we will dive a little bit deeper into childhood trauma. It's probably going to be a few parts to that.
That's a pretty deep
Few
subject.
parts to that. Because yeah, we're going to
Yes.
dive a little deep. But we got to start there because, like I said, we got to start with ourselves first. We got to heal ourselves first. We got to get on that trajectory to heal so that we can make a great partner for someone one day, right? And just make sure that we are having healthy relationships.
Mhm.
We have healthy relationships, we will heal this planet.
Absolutely.
And we'll do a better job of taking care of Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And with all that being said, I'll see you guys next Sunday.
Yes.
Peace, light, love, and healing.
Peace.
Later.